the crime rate of India is comparatively down. It is low compared to other countries, and especially also in rape. I saw this tweet by a Turkish woman who had 67,000 followers. And when I noticed that it was posted only 9 hours earlier, it had already 49 million views. I mean, it was something was very strange. And this was the same toolkit. I mean, the spreading of it went all over the world. The spreading was just not normal.
Every time one hears of a rape, there is Disney. Anger at so many things and the imponderables follow. Could it have been avoided? Can women ever feel secure anywhere? How can the system protect them? On the 1st of March, another such unfortunate incident occurred in Dumka, Jharkhand. A Spanish vlogger was allegedly raped by 7 men, and her husband was beaten up brutally. The moment the news of this incident made it to social media, things went nuclear. There was a mushroom cloud of outrage and hatred for Bharat and Bharatiyas. Indian men, particularly Hindu men, Hindu gods and goddesses were made fun of, were criticized, offensive comments were made, and India or Bharat has been labeled as the rape capital of the world. This happened, if you recall, in 2012 as well, during the time when the Nirbhaya case happened. Is it fair to malign a nation, a culture, a civilization, a religion based on one isolated or two isolated incidents or cases, unfortunate though they are? Namaste. To talk about this regrettable incident and the surrounding apprehensions, questions, and narratives, I have with me today Maria Wirth G. She has been with us on one of our shows earlier. She's a popular cultural commentator, author, and a practitioner of yoga. She continues to write extensively on issues surrounding the discourse about Bharat, giving very astute perspectives as an outsider insider. Namaste, Maria ji. Welcome to our show.
Namaste, Puchita. Thank you for calling me.
So, Maria let's jump right into it. This particular case, it started with a tweet which was put out by the blogger Fernanda, I think her name is, and her husband. And suddenly, that's how the world came to know of her rape. The perpetrators, seven of them, I think they were, have been caught since. A compensation was also paid to the couple, apparently. But the tweet, incidentally, has got over 200 million views just in a matter of couple of days. This happened on the 1st of March, but I think by the 5th or 6th, it just went viral. So, what's unusual about this? Because you are among the very few people, I think, on Twitter who have painstakingly pointed out that there's something bizarre and disproportional about so much visibility to a tweet that's come from a handle that doesn't have so many followers. So, what's suspicious about this?
Well, I didn't first realize that it had so many views. I just saw the video and was a little not so sure, but I can be wrong. But then I saw the number of views and I thought something is very, very wrong here. That is suspect. So I dug a little bit into it, and maybe we should just mention what really happened. This biker couple from Spain, she's Brazilian but lives in Spain with her husband. She's 28, he is 64. And they were staying overnight near Dumka, 300 kilometers from Ranchi. I found this background in the week, actually. And they had, on first night, at 11 o'clock, on 1st March, Friday night, at 11 o'clock, a police patrol passed this area where they were camping. They had pitched their tent there. And they found these foreigners. It doesn't say how they found them, whether they were insured or so. But of course, if a police finds foreigners by the road in the middle of nowhere in Jharkhand, they would naturally take notice of them. No? So they couldn't, there was a language barrier and they couldn't tell, they couldn't explain. So it says the police took them to the hospital, but they were riding their own bikes. Both of them had a bike and they were riding 60 kilometers to the next health center in Jharkhand, escorted by the police. And there, with the help of
So
Google
they were riding
Translator,
on the bike.
on their own bikes, they were not entering the police car, but they could have comfortably gone the 60 kilometers, but they were riding their
Correct.
own bikes. So in the health center, they told the doctor, with the help of Google Translator, it says, that she was raped by 7 or 8 men. And then the same night, she gave a statement to the police at 2 a.m., it says. And right after, the police started interrogating suspects. And also, she put out this video on her Instagram channel in the same night. And
Same night.
some of the suspects, which they rounded up, they confessed and they spilled the names of the others. And meanwhile, all 8 are arrested. The SP told the Press Trust of India, PTI, that he was not informed that foreigners are visiting this area, because basically they would have to inform them. And the Hindu reported that the court, High Court of Jharkhand, took suo motu notice. Suo motu means the court of its own accord asked the police to investigate, because it explained this is reflecting badly on the image of India. So they wanted to get this investigated. And then a check was handed over, as you said, a few days later, because it seems the High Court can award a compensation for rape. And they left meanwhile for Nepal, the couple, on their bikes. And the BGB attacked Jharkhand, and especially also because Dumka happened to be the assembly segment where the present chief minister, Hemant Soren, has been representing. He has been representing Dumka assembly seat in 2019-2020. So, and that was a story. I saw the video on Twitter where she is talking in Spanish, and I could fully understand. And her husband comes in sometimes, and I don't know whether it is genuine or not. I cannot. Investigation would need to be made. And then I saw this tweet by a Turkish woman who had 67,000 followers. And when I noticed that it was posted only 9 hours earlier, it had already 49 million views. I mean, it was something was very strange. Like even Elon Musk, with his huge following, has on his pinned tweet only 3.7 million. 3.7, not 49 after 9 hours. No? So there was something, I don't know what about Twitter also should be taken up. No? I mean, it reflects badly on Twitter also what his algorithm does or whatever. I have no idea how it works, but something was very strange. So I felt it was strange that right in the night, if she was traumatized, and 1 hour later she rides a bike, and then she puts it out on her Instagram handle, and then this huge views. I felt some toolkit had been activated. It is possible that the rape story is true. I don't say. No? I cannot say. And it would need an investigation. But what happened afterwards, there was something very, very suspect, I found. And I was...
Mariaji, also, I mean, couple of things like, I mean, if, like you said, what may have happened may have really happened. What happened and what she claims happened may have really happened. And for that, she has our utmost sympathy as women. But, it is not an unusual occurrence for such things to be fabricated. like it happened in the Kathua rape case, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
And the whole case was exposed by Madhu Kishwarji in her
yeah,
book.
yeah.
So it that's also entirely within the realm of possibility. We should not rule that out. Also, there was this, somebody pointed out on Twitter the fact that she took a picture with her husband, with a cop. There's a
This
selfie
this
that
came.
was
Yeah,
taken. So there was a lot of discussion about that also.
I would like to mention something about this
So
Kathua.
that just seemed very suspicious.
I would like to mention about Kathua case one point,
Yes,
which
yes.
really shocked me when I read Madhu Kishwa's book, The Girl from Kathua. And there was this accused. They just accused after the investigation had been handed over from Jammu police team to the Srinagar police team. They were accusing 6, 7 all Hindus of this village, a very close-knit village. Even the pujari of the temple was who was the main suspect, was the main accused, and now his son was also an accused. He was also, it was said he was raping the girl, and then it turned out that he was having an examination in Muzaffarnagar at Jigar, and he had 3 roommates, and the police came there. And first he told his landlady. His landlady had a photo of him because her granddaughter had some birthday and he was present. And they took the photo, or they made it disappear. And they took the video footage, made it disappear. Okay, but then they took these 3 roommates of Vishal. They took them with them to Jammu, I don't know where, and they tortured them. They tortured them, and still they didn't say that Vishal was in Kathua. They wanted to sign that he was in Kathua. And finally, they signed that he was in Kathua because they brought in Vishal. And Vishal was completely broken. And he begged them, please sign this document. Imagine. I mean, I was so shocked. It was so painful that this can happen to, I mean, normal citizens. Are forced to tell a lie. But fortunately, these 3 boys, in front of the judge, they stood by the truth. They said again, no, he was not in Kathua. And immediately declared them as hostile witnesses. Can you believe? So, luckily for Vishal, there was CTV, C News. I think it was C channel, CTV channel. What is it? And they had this footage of an ATM where Vishal was just at the time when it happened. So they couldn't really lock him up. After he was 1 year in when the court case was not yet done. So he was in prison for quite some time. So this, I really hope that this doesn't happen to some boys also in Jharkhand now. I hope not, no? But yeah, but then when I started seeing this, I started to tweet because so many. There were 2 things. Indians were becoming very apologetic. They were apologizing to this woman, and they were saying, "Oh, I'm ashamed of my country. I, as an Indian, they would start." And this was so painful because I, as a German, if a German commits a terrible crime, I don't identify with it. No? I don't see that I have to apologize to the. It's so, and especially also because the crime rate of India is comparatively down. It is low compared to other countries, and especially also in rape. And this they want to obfuscate. I found even with numbers, even because India has such a huge population. Hmm? And I found now, Africa is very high, you know, they have huge number of rapes. But where did I wrote this down actually? I saw on one statistic website the number of rape incidents in India per 100,000 citizen, per 1 lakh citizen, is 22,172, let's say 22,000 as of 2020, with 1.8 rape rate. Now, who knows what is rape rate? No? You just read 22,000 per 100,000 citizens. This is completely confusing people. Because then you go to Sweden. Sweden has a much higher rate. It says the rape incidents per 1 lakh are only 5,900, let's say 6,000 cases. Can you follow? In India, they say in 1 year, 22,000 rapes have happened in 2020, and they say per 100,000. They say per 100,000. It's a lie. It's not per 100,000. It's 1.8 per 100,000. That is a rate. And in Sweden, they say 5,000 per 100,000. So this, my God, India has such a high incident. And if you don't go into this is very insidious. You wanted to say
Absolutely,
something?
very deceptive. And
Yeah.
Mariaji, now that yes, since you pointed this out, I wanted to also bring this in because it's a very clever argument. It's a what you call this, sophistry that they use with their arguments. They'll say when we bring up Sweden because their numbers are so high and it's a first world country, they say, well, it's a positive sign that Sweden has such a high number because it shows that a lot of people report the cases. That means they're not afraid of the legal system. They know the prosecution levels are high, so they're not afraid of coming out and reporting the incidents. Whereas in India, if the numbers are low, that's because there's a lot of underreporting. You see what they do?
They say you cannot trust the numbers in India. What can you say? No? I mean,
Exactly.
it comes immediately. But I was so shocked at the attacks also specifically at Hinduism. I mean, when now in the
Yes.
comment section of the tweets, I mean, really, I cannot even repeat the attacks. I mean,
It
they were
happened
really bad.
even Kathua rape case, the same thing, Mariaji, the same toolkit. They were making fun of Shiv, Bhagwan Shiv. They made fun of Krishna Bhagwan, saying, "Oh, your Lord Krishna is constantly flirting with women." I mean, these are some of the more milder attacks. There were some very, very ugly ones that came out during that time, if you recall.
Yeah. I mean, and then I jump in also because one Muslim name he was saying, I think I wrote down, say, um, when a religion worships deities whose mythology involves plenty of incest and sexual assault, that is what a society based on that religion looks like. So then I tweeted, we should indeed find out what a society based on Hinduism compared to societies based on Abrahamic religions look like. For this, the crime data needs to be collected religion-wise. I predict that Hindu society has least crimes, and even people know it, and you know it also.
Yes,
I
yes.
felt,
I
and
saw that tweet of yours. Yes.
I feel we should really, because Hindu society is attacked. We are supposed to be there, and if upon we are following Dharma, and it's just not in Dharma, and you call your other women as sisters and mothers, and it's a completely
Yes.
different society. And in Sweden also, the common people, very much know who is raping and why. And it's not because Muslims are bad people, but because their book their book tells them it's allowed. Now, recently in England, I think one Syrian, or I don't know from where he was set free because he didn't know that raping a 13-year-old girl is against the law.
My God, look at that.
Yeah. So people know, but it is also strange why media also. Yeah,
So I
you
want
want to
to
comment?
here bring the conversation to this. There are many, many different angles to this, Mariaji, but you brought out
Yeah,
something which is very pertinent. Now, we all know what is happening even with the Christian women in Europe. What happened to all these young girls, white young girls, Christian young girls in UK for years, right? There was sexual grooming, sex grooming gangs from a particular religion, from a particular country, in fact. But nobody talks about it. Now, little bit, stories are coming out after like 20, 30, 40 years, right? And they have the gumption. On the one hand, one point is they have the gumption to focus on one Nirbhaya in 2012, then one Kathua, which didn't even happen, which is a falsified case, and then this case. So they take 3 or 4 instances and they gun after India. That's one angle. But secondly, more importantly, even they know that it is people of a certain religion who are doing this. They know that the fabric of a very liberal West, Europe has been liberal over the large part of the recent century. How the cultural fabric of that entire continent has been changed in the last few years because of the onslaught of a certain members of certain community. But why don't they talk about it, Mariaji? That is even in Germany, for example, it is happening. But why the silence? Why the silence in the West over this? France is opening up a little bit, but I don't see that happening in UK. I don't see it happening in Germany. I don't see it happening in other parts of Europe. Why?
That is one thing which I don't know understand why Islam and Muslims, when they commit crimes, are so treated with very softly, with velvet clothes. In Germany, Germans laugh already when the papers or when media reports 3 men committed something. No, they know exactly if they were original German. I mean, native German, they would right away say, no, from this town or so. But 3 men, it means something, but they won't say. And I think people have been so much cowed down by political correctness, by this term of Islamophobia. I met once old school friends from I haven't seen for 50 years, and we were talking about the Turks in our village. We have 600 Turks and 6,000 population. 10% Turks who are there for a long time. And they are buying up in the center of the small town. They are buying up many houses. So, and one was talking about this, and then I said, if a Muslim doesn't believe what he's meant to believe, no problem. He's just a normal human being. No? There's no problem. But if he believes what he's meant to believe, he becomes dangerous for us. And then one feisty woman, very strong actually, she said, I was surprised. She said, Maria, what you just said, I fully agree with you, but I wouldn't have dared to say it. And I did not understand. I mean, it's true. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, when you hear from childhood, kafirs are the worst of creatures, and we have to be treated harshly, and it is all it's open, and then naturally it leaves a mark. And if a 7 or 12-year-old boy planted a bomb at a Christmas market a few years ago, he cannot be held responsible, of course. But when the same boy is 17, 18, then how can he change if we don't help them to get out of this mindset? So this is, I think people know, but also this Indian Hindu society, patriarchal society, they are rapists. This unfortunately stuck now also in Europe. Unfortunately, many believe it because those who don't know India, you hear it just superficially, no? Again, another gang rape. Oh, this Indian. Yeah. I mean, so this is like Nirbhaya was the only. This was the same toolkit. I mean, the spreading of it. It went all over the world. The spreading was just not normal. Can you believe in our Nuremberg Nachrichten, where I am from? No? In Nuremberg, there is a local newspaper, Nuremberg News. And in 2013, 1 year after Nirbhaya, that had happened. It was 1 year after. It was a very sad case, no doubt. And she died also. No? It was terrible. But 1 year after, this local newspaper dedicated half a page to Nirbhaya. 1 year after. And in January, I mean, in Germany, a girl was thrown into into a lake um, after being raped, and she drowned. And it came in local news, but it would not come in the national news. But the national news, also in 2013, I was with my sister at the time, and the news broadcaster, only 4 or 5 news in the main news in Germany, it said another gang rape again in India. And even my sister was shocked. Yeah, even that was in 2013. So they really pushed it in. Now, one question
Yes.
is, which really, I don't know why it is. Why does media do this? Who is behind? I mean, this must be kind of, why do they go after Hindus, Indian
But
society so much?
I have one thought on this. You mentioned earlier that Hindus are very apologetic. I think that is another. I mean, as I'm sure you know, that even in within India, there are several enemies within the country, right? It's not always the outsider that's out to destroy the reputation of Bharat, but there's so many within this land who want to do that. So there are many people, even in the media, who are very happy to go out and portray a very negative image of the country, just so that if you're anti the dispensation, the ruling dispensation, you want to show them in a bad light, or you want to show you have your own agenda. Then that is one of the reasons. I find that if you there's so many cases, like if you would give bear me hear me out. I just did a small search on the internet on rape cases in Spain. In fact, there is a documentary which is going on Netflix right now about a rape case of a woman who was raped by men who called themselves the Wolf Gang or the Wolf Pack or something like that in 2016. And these are all white men. They're Christian men. I think from the sound of their names, they sounded like white Christian men. How many Indians here know about this? And are we calling Spanish men rapists? Are we calling Spain a capital rape capital?
Yes, it is really amazing why they are so much after Indians. And some strange things struck me also. If you think of it, media is very much in Jewish hands. I mean, Jews are very much highly overrepresented in media and also owning media. And yet they protect, strangely, those who claim they are the greatest enemies of Jews and who want to eliminate them. And I was wondering, why do they hit out so badly at Hindus? And my impression is, look, if something like this happens and there is a toolkit and people want to demean India, there must be some benefit for some people. And I feel there are several answers maybe to it. One is surely that India is coming up and people don't want India to come up. That is one. And even inside India, many help those people who, for whatever reason, also support the fact that India should not come up. Second is now elections are coming up. They want to create some disturbance, I'm sure. And then third, I feel that Hindu Dharma is maybe a danger for those who plan this control of humans. I mean, what is now happening in the last few years, you know that like when the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, he said openly that countries should take China as a model. Justin Trudeau also, he was praising China. And now this Yuval Noah Harari, maybe you have heard of him, who is very prominent in the World Economic Forum also. So he's an Israeli historian. He was talking about artificial intelligence, AI, and he said this really, what do we need humans for? And then he corrected himself and said, what do we need so many humans for? And then he said, maybe we can keep them busy with computer games and drugs. that we don't need consciousness, we need intelligence. And robots are far more intelligent than human beings who have all this emotional package and so on. So I felt suddenly maybe there are people who don't want this knowledge, which is still preserved in India, to become common knowledge. People to know that it is possible to connect with some power within you, which, I mean, they want to dump us down. That is quite obvious. I mean, in the West, the level of education is going down drastically, and they want to break the family system. They, a lot is going on. And if they want to control us, if there are so many still, then we have to be on our metaverse, maybe with some sunglasses on, and not realizing that even this world is already meta, is already Maya. It is also not really true, and we should find out the truth. And I feel there are forces who want to prevent us from connecting with what is really true, because it would make us freer. It would make us, yeah, mukti. No? So this was my explanation, that those powers who want to get this one world government and keep us under control, because you have to keep us under control. First, they want to make us fight, Hindu, Muslim, Jews, Muslim, no? And then they want this knowledge, and that is my explanation why India, of all people, who has protected the Jews, and who is now on the side of them, why the media is going so badly after Hindu Dharma. So I don't, it would, that's my feeling somehow.
No, no, I absolutely agree. There are some, that's why it's called the deep state. It's not one. It's there many, many, many layers to this, and many forces who are involved in making this. I think it's a very, very tough battle, and ahead of us, tough days ahead of us. But I think Hindus are made of sterner stuff, because we have withstood, the Islamic invasion. We withstood with the British, and the colonialists. So I don't think we're not going to be that easy to, to to be vanquished. That's what they want, but that's not going to happen.
I think also it is not going
So,
to happen,
Maria ji, that
but actually, yeah, actually, sometimes I really feel
hmm.
when I'm reading the Puranas, no? Many Hindus say, oh, what Puranas are just some stories. No, it's not stories, and a lot of knowledge inside. And I've this fight between devas and asuras, it is happening right now. But I still try to find out, where are the humans in this fight? Where are the humans? Are we used by these two forces, or where are we? In the Puranas, it's Devas Asuras, no? And Devas Asuras, they are separate categories, which Brahma separately, and also the Saptarishis and no, the different beings, and humans is just one species. So I don't know what is it in playing out, which side we take, whether we go towards Asura. And also one very interesting thing, basically Asuras are not people with kind of horns and so on, but they are basically egoistic. And egoismus is what is preached in most of in the West especially. It is so natural. I remember in psychology class once there was a question: is it good to be selfless? To like a mother putting her desires back for the child. No, no, it's not good. You have to know your own desires. You have to know your own needs, and you have to fulfill them. So this, I remember this. It's breaking me.
That's again a very Western.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, in India
And in
still,
India, it's all about giving the self. Like the whole idea of sacrifice is paramount in our culture.
yeah, and
Your
duty is
your
still
your
there.
being, your existence is a sacrifice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it should not be too much, maybe also, but duty is seen in a positive light. No? Duty is seen in a positive light, whereas for us it is, oh, it's boredom, or it's word, and so, but duty can be, yeah, it can be also contribute to your happiness actually, because you do your part also, no? You need some meaning in your life. So I feel India has the best recipe for how to live, and some people don't want people to know this.
I guess in the world there are all kinds, Mariaji. So, I like you said, you pointed out the devas and asuras. I think that struggle will always continue because, and that's the nature of the material world. And we just have to, figure out a way to make sure that the sattva side is slightly higher than the other darker
I
forces.
think we need to know also,
So,
because what I
Mariaji,
know,
we
yeah,
yes.
what I notice is that many youngsters don't know about the philosophy of Hindu Dharma. They don't know about this oneness of all. They don't know that we are playing an actor's role basically. That our essence is one with all, and nothing will happen to us when we lose our body. And this knowledge is maybe consciously hidden. It's not hidden, of course. Everybody can read about it, but um, youngsters especially don't know it. They really, when I ask them what is Hinduism about, oh, we worship many gods.
Exactly. And that is one of the reasons, Mariaji, that I think it is because of the systematic deracination of Hindus from their own culture, which was done by the British. I think they did it with great, they had
Finesse.
they had a strategy and they worked and they made sure that the Hindus are, deracinated, and a whole generation came about, 2 or 3 generations that are completely disillusioned with their Hindu roots. Thankfully, that's changing now. I think there's a change, and a lot of the Hindu youth are beginning to discover. So that's a positive change, and that's probably because of the political environment also that's been conducive for that to happen. So I really hope that that continues, and that's going to be our in 2024. That's going to be our challenge
Yes, I
to
remember
make sure
once
that
many years ago, some 20, 30 years ago, I came to know somebody said that Muslims think they are superior to their religion is superior to Hinduism. And then I said, how can this be? No? I was in ashrams at the time and I was immersed in it. That is not possible. So I asked a neighbor who was Muslim. She was a kind of high class Muslim. She practiced Buddhism. She was not a practicing Muslim, but she was on Muslim. So I asked, is it true that Muslims think they are superior to Hindus? Their religion is superior? Yes. Immediately she said. So we have done a bad job actually for our own people and for also the others, because they were allowed to be pushed into some dogma which when you get older, look, why don't these old people who have terminal illness, who have cancer or so, why don't they become suicide bombers? I mean, no, when you are young, you can be formed and pushed into, and later you think maybe I don't know whether it was true, but now I'm in this groove and I continue in this groove. So, so I don't know.
yeah. Well, there are a lot of unanswered questions, and I just hope that a lot of things that we need to sort out internally as well. I think internally in our heads as well as within the country. So, I'm glad we had this talk, Mariaji, because I've been following your tweets on Twitter, especially you're really taking the effort to bring out certain facts about this particular case, which has clearly brought down, unfortunately, the image of India outside. And this has definitely been, like you said, post the incident on social media, there is definitely some kind of a toolkit politics that's going on that's ensured that, India is shown in a bad light. So I'm glad we were able to talk about this, and I hope people get to see this and understand things for what they are. And we should have these conversations often. So thank you so much for your time,
Thank you,
and
Rita.
we'll have you once again on our show sometime soon. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Nareji. Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
day.
Thank you, Pujita.
Namaskar. Pranam. And to our subscribers, I hope you enjoyed this talk. This is a very, very important and a contentious issue. I would like you to share this content with your friends. Let people know about this incident and the concerns around it. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel and please keep coming back to us for more content. Thank you. Namaskar.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.